GF's PMS is the most savage thing I've ever dealt with. Long story short, I, 34 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 28 female, for a little over 2 years, and we finally moved in together recently. I immediately discovered that she suffers from PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, basically meaning her PMS is 1,000 million billion trillion times worse than most women, and she has literally zero control over her emotions for 3 to 4 days before her period. This effectively results in her turning into a rabid hyena and causes fights every single month. Not so much because she lashes out at me like a bloodthirsty honey badger and starts shit for no reason, although that definitely happens too, but because she absolutely refuses to even consider the idea that maybe she could give me a heads up when it's that time of the month. This month's example. Yesterday was a great day like any other. She was texting me all day while we were at work about regular stuff. How much she loves me, how amazing I am for picking her daughter up from daycare, how grateful and happy she is with her life, and how she can't wait to get home to do yoga with me. So I pick her daughter up from daycare and spend an hour watching cartoons and playing and generally having a freaking blast waiting for mom to get home. Well, she walks in the door like a goddamn Viking on the warpath, berating me and treating me like a doormat and generally just acting like my mere existence is the most offensive thing she has ever had to stomach. So I sleep on the couch to avoid the certainty of staying awake getting cussed out until 2 a.m. for some imaginary perceived affront, then wake up at 6 a.m. and head to work like usual. Here's where I apparently fucked up, when I made the dire mistake of suggesting in just about the kindest and most gentle way possible in a text message, mind you, that possibly maybe she could try to communicate with me when she's getting close to that time of the month so I can prepare myself and be more sensitive and understanding and perhaps temporarily flee the country as needed. Oh boy, was that a mistake. She proceeded to accuse me of guilting her for being a woman, attacking her and expecting her to control her emotions. I never once said this or anything resembling it, by the way, and shaming her for having natural bodily processes. No matter how much I apologized and groveled and insisted that isn't my intention and I'm just asking for one single text of, not feeling good, want to be alone tonight, or something along those lines, she continued just verbally textually beating the ever-loving shit out of me until about an hour ago. She insists that her having to communicate even one single text with me when she's feeling like that is impossible, and that I'm an insensitive prick for even suggesting it. Well, after talking a little bit, she came up with the solution that I stop being such a sensitive little bitch, direct quote, and then she suggested that I start keeping track of her period on my phone's calendar so I will know when to avoid her. Here's another great quote. I'm miserable and you're asking me to do one more thing to worry about when all you have to do is some math in your head and go hang out with your friends. So, here I am sleeping in my car because apparently asking your cohabitating girlfriend of 2 years for the simplest, most basic form of decency and adult communication is an act punishable by death. By the way, a little background info that might be relevant. I was previously married for 12 years and my ex-wife's worst month of PMS was like frolicking in a field of daisies on a clear, breezy 71-degree late spring day somewhere in the Swiss countryside compared to my current GF's best month since we started dating. My point is that I'm not new to dealing with PMS. I'm not an ignorant, clueless little boy. I have kids and have talked to dozens of female friends and family members about their PMS, and literally everyone is absolutely flabbergasted at this. What do? Am I fucked? I have PMDD. She should be taking progesterone supplements starting a week or so before her cycle till the crazy wings off. Tracking her cycle isn't the issue. You're living together, you're planning to put up with this for years? You're going to marry this woman? Where you gonna go for 4 days every month, pay for a hotel room? What happens after you have kids? She gonna abuse her children? Are you taking them to the hotel as well, every month? This is seriously fucking bullshit. Like Reddit would tell anyone with an out-of-control medical condition, she needs to get this under control, or you need to walk away. Why hasn't she gotten help for this? You should be understanding of what's going on, but it doesn't mean you should take abuse every month. It's not healthy or viable. She needs to step up and get help. Expecting her to control her emotions, she's a fucking adult, she is expected to control her fucking emotions. This is abuse and I would counsel ending the relationship over this. Wonder why the majority of the other responses are so gentle. Honestly, just leave man. You already go to counseling. She constantly promises to change and never does. By not taking action, she's intentionally abusing you at this point. Her hormones are just an excuse. What if she was a drunk? Would her addiction make this okay? This is like any abuser. When things are good, they're great, and they always promise to change and how things will be better. And then you're getting berated and called a little bitch again. Like honestly dude, you keep putting up with this after so much has happened, so she has no reason to change because she knows you won't leave. She does have a choice. That's not sustainable every month, and I couldn't live with someone like that. She needs therapy and a stack of books of how to regulate emotions. You can find some suggestions in a borderline support sub. I'm sure she tracks her cycle. She should just share the app info with you so you can access it. No math or guessing games on your end. Unless the app tracks other private health information, it shouldn't be an issue. On one of her normal days, tell her you're putting nanny cams in every room in the house, and that after her next cycle you two are going to review the recordings and decide if she gets medical help or you move out. She is being abusive. Funny no one mentions that. The sudden shift in emotions also seem to indicate other personality disorders. Having PMS/PMDD doesn't as a reason to act like a cunt. Quit putting up with it, dude, and stop sleeping in the damn car. She needs to be able to act like an adult and at least communicate that she's in a shitty mood so she doesn't take it out on others, if she can't regulate her emotions. I'd leave her. She needs medical attention and therapy. PMDD sucks, but that's not an excuse to be abusive. Fuck that. Stop accepting this. Just because she has a reason she's being abusive doesn't make it okay. It might not be her fault, but it's her responsibility. She needs to be working on managing this with medical professionals, not expecting everyone else around her to just accept it. Can you stop living together? You should not stay living with this person, or in a relationship with this person if they treat you like this and don't manage their condition. And please call CPS, the equivalent where you are, and tell them this woman is refusing to treat her medical condition that causes her to be abusive towards everyone in the household multiple days a month. This shouldn't be inflicted on the daughter either. Your GF's behavior is outrageous and you are plain stupid to have tolerated for so long. If you stay the course and continue to tolerate it, in no time at all she will be menopausal. Enjoy. She sounds awful. No excuse, that's her true nature. Don't walk, run. Continuous birth control. No periods equals no PMS. She is an adult, not a child. She needs to go and get medical help. And you? You are an adult too. If she isn't willing to get medical help, grow a fucking spine and walk away from this hell. Bro, even being considerate of the condition. What the fuck is the endgame here? You getting abused every month, then both of you acting like nothing's happened, until it happens again next month? Who the fuck would wanna put anyone through that shit for an entire lifetime? She's a self-entitled cunt for not doing anything for your sake this entire time. That is why it's wrong, and that is also why you should consider leaving. My significant other has this as well, so I feel your pain. She found relief with some antidepressants, and while it's not traipsing through the daisies, it's not the Eye of Sauron and Mount Doom erupting anymore either. So I'd encourage her to speak to her doctor, but definitely don't even try and have this conversation during that time. We learn to live together by simply ignoring each other a couple days per month, and then just letting it go without comment once the mood passed. Good luck to you. I'm sorry. PMS is not an excuse for treating everyone around you like shit. I bet she doesn't treat her boss like shit, or her coworkers. Or her kid. She targets you. It's one thing to want to be pampered a bit, it's quite another to call your SOA, bitch, and act like she's acting. Personally, I'd tell her to pick her own kid up from daycare and go get a beer. I'm sorry, but she's an adult woman. She should know better. Just because it's fueled by a natural process doesn't mean it's a healthy mental state. Schizophrenia is arguably also fueled by a natural state of one's brain. Doesn't mean it doesn't need to be treated, dealt with to have a higher quality of life on a daily basis. You don't have to take her abuse, and you're not shaming her for being female, or for having a period. You're literally just asking for basic respect in your own home. I would leave if I were you. She sounds unhinged. Get her meds and you should download the Clue app. She obviously had PMDD. Go with her to the doctor if you need to get her some meds. I have PMDD and my husband and I used to have a lot of situations like you described. I'm totally irrational those days. What works for us is me telling him my period is due. He gives me a lot more space those days. I also read a book on CBT, managing emotions, and take an antidepressant for anxiety. Weed also helps a ton to stop the irrational thoughts. But she needs to own the fact that she has these problems and wants to take the steps to work on them. Move out. She's not a safe life partner. She's abusive. Get rid of her. There's no excuse for being a cunt. Have you tried mentioning this to her when she's not PMSing? Or asking her about therapy, going to a doc to see if there's anything to help her? Again, when she's not PMSing. I ain't excusing the way she's acting because it's absolutely disgusting and I'm sorry that you went through that shit, although being asked of simple things during PMS can really feel impossible to do. Even if it is helpful and after a few days you realize that it was completely rational to be asked that. Sounds like a step back may be in order, perhaps a live-in arrangement is not viable till she works things out and is more able to manage her abusive tendencies. It's funny how there's always an excuse for women being abusive. Testosterone is quite the hormone too. I'd leave her, fuck putting up with that every month. Hi, I have PMDD and used to set fire to my life at that time every month. It's a horrible feeling of losing control and hurting the ones you love over and over. My heart goes out to both of you. I take venlafaxine for PMDD as well as depression and anxiety, and it has all but eliminated my PMDD. I have control over my life again and would highly recommend anyone dealing with this talk to their doctor about it. I have PMDD and have dealt with it since my period first started because I didn't have access to medication for it. She may not be able to control her emotions, but she's absolutely responsible for the consequences of her actions during that time. We hold other people accountable for shitty behavior caused by their mental illnesses and this is no different. It isn't fair that you're expected to just tolerate it and take the blame. And #X200B. She needs to see a doctor. There's no excuse not to, especially when the people around her are turned into fucking targets during her cycle. I'm usually not a fan of giving people ultimatums, but it's an option on the table. She either sees a doctor to get this shit under control or you leave. How the hell does she have a job if every month she goes off like this? Or are you the only one she goes off on? My wife has really severe PMDD. She always warns me when those days are coming, and she is perfectly capable of not being a huge asshole to me, even when she is suffering from the wild mood swings and oversensitivity. The truth is that most of your girlfriend's behavior is a choice she is making. Yeah, she seems pretty fucking awful and incredibly immature. Adults have to learn to manage and control our own issues. We can't just rain our crazy all over others as a standard behavior. She thinks having a twat gives her a free pass to behave awfully. Show her that's not the case. She should see a doctor on this. About you? If she doesn't acknowledge her problem, then you should reconsider this relationship. Or, get used to sleep on the couch like a dog for a week each month. Strong chance you will eventually walk away. Given my own experience, I would unwind this before you get more involved. Make her your ex-girlfriend. Immediately. Record any further verbal assaults she throws your way. Don't feel bad for removing yourself from a toxic situation. She has you sleeping in the car for fuck's sake. Did you ask her that question while she was going through the 3 to 4 days when you know how she is? After it's over, talk to her again and tell her she needs to see a doctor. Take advice other women are suggesting. Like there's a lot your girlfriend could do to help herself and you. You've been together 2 years. Surely you've realized this happens around the same time each month. Surely it's not hard for you to track it either? IDK, to me if you weren't willing to do this yourself then you are the asshole. But as for my original point, surely at some point she should get further help, too. So she's also This can be medically treated. Multiple women in my family take medication and they are mostly fine now. I recommend approaching her about it when she is not on her period. Also, as an aside, your writing is hilarious. It was very difficult not to laugh out loud while reading about your peril. Good luck, man. You seem like a cool, understanding guy, so I hope she sees that and is cool about things. I don't care about you in this story, but I do feel for the kids involved. No way would I allow my kids around someone who sounds like, by their own admission, have times where they are not in control because of hormones. Would you let your kids around someone who is drunk or hard drugs? She is either exaggerating and likes to treat you like trash or is not fit to be around kids. She needs meds. I also have PMDD. It's pretty rough to deal with and I know it can hurt my friends and family a lot. It's unfortunately really hard to control though. My doctor suggested I go on seasonal. It's a birth control pill that delays your period for 3 months at a time. I suggest you have a conversation with her about different birth control methods that will limit the time that she will experience these symptoms. Low and seasonal are both good options in Canada. Bring back menstrual huts. I hope you are not subjecting your kids to this. If I was your ex, I would fight you for full custody if I found out you were dating someone like this. I used to think PMS stood for potty mouth syndrome when I was a kid. Guess I wasn't that far off. She's verbally abusing you. She needs to seek help and at least try to get it under control instead of saying, "It's not my fault, it's a mental illness, you just have to put up with my horrible behavior." It is a mental illness, and it's not her fault, but it is her responsibility. If she won't take responsibility for it, you're better off moving on, cause she's not gonna get any better. What does she do at work when this syndrome occurs? I bet she manages to control her emotions there, otherwise she would be out on her ass. So ask her why she can control her emotions with a bunch of strangers, but cannot with the people she loves the most? I have a friend with PMDD, and it took years of trying different medications before she found something that was remotely effective. The difference here is that your girlfriend doesn't see a problem that needs fixing, and is putting you on the hook to manage things for her. Your girlfriend needs to recognize that she has a problem, and it's on her to figure it out through medication and therapy, not you. Besides, tracking her period only works if she has extremely regular periods, which she may not.